probably one of my favorite people. She, when I got her, was 59 pounds, and she was probably twice as long as June, and probably 3 or 4 inches taller. And when I moved into our apartment in the Bronx in New York City with her, I didn't know that, well, she could move absolutely silently without clicking a toenail, without rattling a tag, and I put several tags on her to try to be able to keep track of her. She knew that my first wife, Lee, couldn't see either, and so, doggone, I forgot to turn on my deodorant. There. Okay. Oops.
I've got a table over here for you. Set it right on your left, just by you.
Okay, good. As I said, when we moved into the apartment in New York, Lee and I did not realize that she could sneak quite that well. We had a garbage can with a pedal on it, and she could raise that lid without a sound and put it back without a sound. In September, she weighed 59 pounds, and when I was walking down Pelham Parkway in the Bronx in New York, the big fat ladies would shove us off into the dirt or the mud. The next spring, she had been stealing from the garbage for a number of months, and she weighed 110 pounds.
Oh my goodness!
It was solid muscle, believe it or not, and she would walk down the street in the center of the sidewalk with a hunch to those shoulders, and the big fat ladies got off into the mud. Traveling with her was a whole lot of fun. She was the one that I came to Southwest State with, and she had a wonderful sense of humor. Those of us who loved her found her fun-loving and full of mischief. The ones who didn't were scared to death because I think, in the words of our son Terry, he said, totally awesome. She was silver and tan, what somebody used to call a castle shepherd, long nose, big ears. One of my students who raised wolves thought that she was half wolf. And she would fool around. I used to play with her, and she would snap at me, and she never hit anything she didn't intend to, except for once. And I had black and blue from there clear up to there. But traveling with Duchess was really, really interesting because, for one thing, you were safe. Nobody was going to bother you. I remember one time we took a cab from Kennedy Airport back to our apartment, and the cab driver carried our bags in, and he wasn't going to leave until we gave him a tip that he thought was what he wanted. Finally, I said, "Duchess, what's he doing here? Get him out of here." And she stood up on her hind legs, and she was way taller than I, and she let out this ear-splitting roar, and we heard him running down the corridor. In Kennedy Airport one time, Lee always wanted to get there early, and so we spent a lot of time drinking coffee, and I went to the men's room. Back then, they had pay toilets that you had to put a dime in the slot to get in there. And I brought Duchess in because I didn't know what she would do if I left her outside there. She came in and she laid down, and her front end was over here in this stall, and her rear end was over here in this stall. Pretty soon this guy was singing. He came in, obviously he'd been trying to fortify his courage to fly. And he opened up the door and he looked down, and Duchess said, and he goes, "Jesus Christ." And he backed out, and the door slammed, and I tried to say, "Well, when I come out, you can use this one and save your time," but he was long gone. The most amazing thing that I've ever seen a seeing eye dog do, though. We were going to Portsmouth, New Hampshire to meet my folks. It was over Thanksgiving. And we had to ride this 7th Avenue subway down to Port Authority bus terminal. And there was an underground way to get to Port Authority bus terminal. And we found the ticket place, and we went from there down to the gate. It was gate 12 with Trailways bus that took you to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. The next Wednesday, we came down in the afternoon, and it was wall-to-wall people. And we got off the subway, and Duchess straightened up, and her head was pointing. And I said, "I think she knows where she's going." And my wife said, "That's good, because I have no idea." She took us through the corridor, up the flight of stairs, directly to the ticket office, where we bought our tickets. She took us down the stairs and along the concourse at Port Authority, and right to gate 12. Mm-hmm. And I put my suitcase down, and Duchess snuggled down behind it. Somebody came along and saw these two blind people there, decided to steal the suitcase. he reached, grabbed it. Duchess reared up. He turned around and ran, and Duchess took off and tore that leash out of my hand. I mean, like I wasn't there. And she chased that guy down the concourse. People were laughing, and then somebody, oh my gosh. Pretty soon, here came Duchess back again with a wet sleeve. With her, you were safe. In the Bronx, several of our friends were waylaid at 5 o'clock in the afternoon and left there on the sidewalk, nobody doing anything about it. Nobody wanted to come near us. And that is the picture that I will never forget. There are tons of stories about Duchess that people around SSU could tell. She was a fixture. I had her from 1969 here in Marshall until 1978 when I lost her. And she was an amazing friend, and she and many others of my dogs are as alive to me today as they were. Thank you.